Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about, do they think of me? And I'm also going to go into a lot about letting go here as well. So when it comes to an ex or someone that you've dated and you're wondering, do they still think of me? Have they, what you've got to remember is this, okay? It's very unlikely that they're going to forget about you because we can't just develop amnesia overnight, right? I still remember people I went to school with when I was, 3 years old, right? People who I haven't spoken to in like 20 years, right? I still remember those people, right? So if you've had something romantic with someone, you've been in a relationship with them, or you went on a few dates with them, then yeah, of course they're going to remember you. They're not just going to forget about you, especially if there was a romantic emotional bond with you. And they may even remember you even if they didn't feel that way about you, right? Because if you've spent time with someone, usually they imprint on you in some way and you remember them. You'll always remember them in some way. So they're not just going to develop amnesia overnight and just never think about you again, right? They are going to think about you, okay? So hopefully that's made you feel a bit more relaxed. They're not just going to forget about you, right? Because I know it can feel sometimes like they're forgotten about you. If you haven't heard from them in a long time, or they dropped you like a hat or something, and you haven't heard from them since, right? They haven't forgotten about you, even if they did something as immature as dropping you like that, right? They won't just forget about who you are, right? Things will remind them of you. Maybe hearing songs on the radio or going past places in their car where you used to eat at, where you used to hang out, things like that. They are going to remember you. I remember pretty much, I'm pretty sure I remember every single person that I've ever dated, right? Every single woman I've ever dated. I remember so many people, but then again, my memory's pretty good. So, maybe there are some people out there that do sort of, if they've been on a lot of dates, they forget about certain people they've been on dates with. But I think most of the time, most people remember who they've had romantic involvement with or near romantic involvement with, okay? And even then, I remember people that I randomly met on the beach when I was a kid, like other kids, So, they're not just going to forget about you, okay? So what's really going on here is that you're having a little bit of trouble letting go of them. You're having trouble with the fact that they've perhaps moved on super fast, or that you just haven't heard from them in a while, and you're getting worried, basically, like, do they ever think of me, right? So what you've got to remember here, and what you've got to try and start doing, is letting go of this person. Because obviously, if you're worried that they don't think about you anymore, is that there's probably been some time that has gone by, right? And perhaps they've even moved on with their life. Perhaps they're in a relationship now, or it's just been a long time, basically. So it's time to start letting go of this person, because if a lot of time has gone by, or they have moved on with their life and they are with someone new, then there's not really a lot now that you can do apart from not get involved anymore, right? So that means going into no contact and applying the no contact rule. Now, what's cool about the no contact rule is that when you start applying it, you then start to see, when it comes to your ex or this person who you got on your mind, how they really feel about you. Because maybe, for example, you're still actually in contact with them, right, a little bit. Perhaps you're still texting every so often. But the cool thing about the no contact rule is that over time, you will realize how that person felt about you. If they still like you, if there's still some feeling there, once you have disappeared and they haven't heard from you in a long time, they're going to reach out to you if they care about you, right? If they do not care about you, then you will just not hear from them again, right? And that will let you know, either way, basically, how they feel about you. But the idea, obviously, then, is not to just wait around for this answer, right? You shouldn't be waiting around for someone, especially someone who has displayed low interest and is no longer talking to you, and has perhaps even moved on with their life by dating someone new. Perhaps they even got married recently or something like that. So, even though they may still think about you sometimes, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's strong enough for them that thinking of you is strong enough for them to reach out to you and miss you and things like that. They may even be glad that they're no longer with you, which, if they found someone new, then they probably feel that way because obviously they love the new person that they're with. So they're glad that they're not with past exes or past love interests. They're happy with that. They're with the person they're with. At least hopefully. I know that that's not always the case with some marriages and some relationships. Because not every relationship, not every marriage is a very happy one, unfortunately. But that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Hopefully I can help rectify some of those problems, at least with a few different relationships. So it's a good idea to not be waiting by the phone, putting your life on hold, basically waiting to see how this person feels about you or if they still think about you and things like that. You have to start moving on with your life, okay, which can be very, very difficult. I know it's easier said than done, much easier said than done. And, there was a good quote that I learnt today, which is words don't teach, right? Words don't teach, only experience can teach, right? So I'm going to give you a few things that you can start doing, so you can start experiencing them, basically, so that you can start actually moving on with your life. Now, one of these things that you need to know is that it's going to take time, okay? It's not just something that you can easily get over, especially if you've had really strong feelings for this person for a long time, or even it may have been a short period of time, but the emotions were really, really strong, right? Because I know some people can fall in love with someone from afar, get feelings for someone from afar, and those emotions can be so intense, even though they've only spoken a few words to each other. It can be very difficult to let go of that person, especially if you've been daydreaming a lot about them and fantasizing about them, thinking about them a lot. So I know it doesn't always have to be you guys to be actually intimately together for it to be difficult to move on from. So what you've got to remember then with this, right, that even though time does heal all wounds, and I truly believe that, even though time does heal all wounds, what's important to realize is that you are going to have good days where you feel good and you don't miss them as much, and then you're going to have days where you do feel bad and you may even feel like you've relapsed and you really, really do miss them. So what you've got to realize is you've got to be kind of kind to yourself, right? And I know it sounds a bit cliche, it sounds a bit cheesy, but you do have to allow yourself to have crap days, right? Where you do miss them, because it's not really like getting over someone is not like a linear thing, right? It's more like a up and down, sort of going backwards a bit and going forwards, and then you sort of go to the point where you do actually feel like you're over it, or you feel a lot less intense about it, at least. Okay, so you got to be kind to yourself, give yourself the time to get over it, and realize that you are going to have days where you feel like you're not over it at all, and you're going to have other days where you feel actually a lot better. So give yourself that time, be kind to yourself. Don't worry if you do go back and you feel like you're taking a step back, where you feel maybe even some days you feel like you're back at square one, right? Because it will sometimes feel like that if you really truly miss someone like that, okay? So it's a good idea then to give yourself plenty of time. Another thing that's going to help with letting go is if you create some new things, some new opportunities for yourself in your life. Some, because basically if you've been living a certain way, you've been thinking about this person a lot, perhaps you've got a lot of things, perhaps you've got a lot of habits that you do. Perhaps, for example, like every day, perhaps you check your phone, go through their old messages that they sent you or something like that, or you go and look at their social media profiles. Basically, you want to stop doing that, but when you stop doing that, unfortunately, that creates a vacuum, right? Because you're no longer spending time on the thing that you once did. So what you got to do is you got to replace it with something else. So it could be like learning a new skill. It could be going out for a run. It could be going to the gym. It could be spending time with your family. It could be working on some kind of like side project that you're doing. It could be maybe you're into art and you do some drawing or painting or something like that. So you want to be replacing that old time that you spent thinking about them, reminiscing about them, on something new, right? So that's another thing that's going to help you move on. Now, again, like this is not like a cure. Like you will still think about them sometimes. You may be doing something and you just absentmindedly, your mind goes towards them and things like that. So obviously, it will help, but it's not going to, you're not, like I said, about them thinking about you. They're still going to think about you sometimes, and you're also going to still think about them sometimes, right? You're not going to develop amnesia either and just forget about them. That's just unrealistic. But you can still spend your time in a more productive way and spend less time reminiscing, thinking about them, looking through old photos, overanalyzing old messages that they sent you, and things like that. Okay, so get some new hobbies. I always say to people, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? When it comes to like your career, your health, your fitness, the kind of place that you want to live, the kind of hobbies that you're going to be doing, the kind of people that you want to spend time with, and try and work towards those things every day so you can create a life for yourself that you're really happy about, right? And even if you're not happy with where you are, at least you're then happy with the path that you're on. And if you're more happier and you're more, you've got lots of things that you're up to, that you're trying to improve in your life, then you're going to come across as more relaxed, more confident, and therefore you may even be able to attract someone better, because the best way to actually get over someone is to find someone better once you've taken the time to heal, right? To find someone who's better looking than them, who loves you more, who cares about you more, who you enjoy the company of more, right? And that's one of the best ways that you can get over that person. But obviously you need some time to heal and to get over it to begin with. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.